welcome back for another episode. I was at a conference recently and ran into the team for the Biohackers Magazine. And funny thing is who we have here with us today. It's been almost a year that we've been trying to connect because we met at another conference. It was a good year ago. We said, "Oh, let's do something together." And we just never did. And then we ran into each other again. And here we go. Jean Fallacara is with us today, the publisher of Biohackers Magazine. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being a guest of your podcast and being finally on the show
finally connecting.
or talking. Yeah, it's just like it's been.
Yeah, the last time we tried to talk, I think you were on a beach somewhere and like there was no phone connection and your wife was telling you she was hungry and wanted to go for dinner or something weird was going on. But anyways, we're here now. So
and the time before actually it was you getting into the plane or something like that. So
yes.
You never made it. Yeah.
But here we are. The cool thing that I think that you have access to that people really want to know. So we see this wave now where this fringe biohacking movement is now becoming quite mainstream. Maybe not under the label biohacking, but the tools you can probably think of a friend that now owns an HBOT or oxygen system in their home, or owns a red light therapy something, or owns a cold plunge tub, whereas 5 years ago you didn't know anybody, right? So it's becoming quite mainstream now, and you have the finger on the pulse of what's coming next, right? That next future stuff, and a lot of your work around that next is up here. It's the brain, because that's that last frontier of, okay, we're getting things better, and now there's stuff to work on. So it's really great to have you here for that, because we get to see into the future by talking to you, which is awesome. So the work that you're doing right now, I know that there's this great effort of human performance in general, right? This is what we're talking about by biohacking, is being the best of that we could be in the shortest, quickest route to that best. And the thing, after doing everything, the place where you're now stuck is that you can't optimize your body if you haven't optimized your brain. Right? And the people that are at the best, you work with professional athletes, you work with the best. So what's going on there? What are you currently working on with all that?
Let's put it back on history. Biohacking at the beginning was like perceived as a gang of granular people trying to improve their lives using all sorts of stuff. But it became more and more understood that biohacking is not like putting a chip in your brain or a magnet on your fingers, is actually optimizing your life in any aspect of it. And when you said as fast as possible or as short as possible, yes, but the beauty of biohacking, I think, is like there is no magic pill or shortcut. You have to go through the grind to perform to the highest level, to be on peak performance. And now, if we put everything back on track, we look at neuroscience. Neuroscience is one of the newest science developed. Before we had psychiatry, psychology, and science. So one was doing a diagnostic, the other one was trying to understand the body. Neuroscience makes this bridge in between both and help us to understand that if you start by training your brain, your body will follow. But to have a brain that is functional enough, you have to have a body in shape. And this is where I'm trying to put my work as much as possible, is to make people understand that, you can go to all the conferences and training session to get into flow state or optimize your mindset to be a warrior or one of these elite CEOs or COs. But if you're fat and obese, it doesn't make any sense. On the other side, you have those trainers putting people to performances, but forgetting to tell them like, hey, man, wake up in the morning, look at the sun. This is the first step to biohacking. Simple step, improve your life. And then if you crescendo, implement them one after the other, you get to get your brain optimized and your body aligned with it. And then you become someone that can get to the peak performances. I see many people like renowned neuroscientists that they're bringing a lot into this, a lot of help into biohacking, actually, like talking about cold plunges, sauna, cold exposure whatsoever, meditation, but they're not in top shape. And I see many trainers that are super top shape, like shredded and fit, but the brain is not that functional. They push people in the wrong direction. So I'm trying to bridge those and to make, it's kind of cheesy, but to make a better world, to make people understand that, hey, put the effort together where they have to be put, and not asking about huge improvement or huge changes in your life, but small step on each direction will make you a great leader and a great performer in sport. It's super simple. We are meant to be that way.
Yeah, and I think you said it sounds like a cliche, but it's not. Like the outcome of people being at optimal health, peak health, is better relationships, better mood, better work, productivity. Everything gets better when you're at your best, and it truly becomes a better world. Everyone around you. Just think about being in a family of people that are active and athletic versus a family of people that are on the couch eating chips, right? It's a very different relationship, very different experience. So being optimal makes everything better. And I think you're right on where you have these people, you're trying to build this middle, which is where we need to be. And you have these extremes of these guys that are looking for the shortcut, right? It's like, tell me what to do. Tell me which pill to take.
Or give me the pill.
Tell me which
give me the pill.
Yeah. And tell me which equipment to buy. And I'm going to do that thing, but I'm not doing anything else. Right? Give me the shortcut. Then you have the guys that are, this is my identity, this is my life, and I do absolutely everything, but I don't actually know if I'm healthy. Right? I might, there's some particular goal to have a certain body type, to have a certain number of pills per day, whatever. But the measure of health is, for example, you have this wave of COVID coming along, and why is it that some bodybuilders and weightlifters got super sick? Because at the mitochondrial level, they weren't healthy. Right? They weren't healthy. They didn't understand. It wasn't part of their... So what you're doing is saying, how do we make this more functional? Let's build it in the middle, which starts with the brain. You have to be good here to make everything else good. And I fully agree with you. When I go to see all this work being done and we deal with our patients and customers and go to a conference, it's always one of these two. Give me the magic bullet, the shortcut, right? Just here's my checkbook. Just take it. Just take my money. Give me the shortcut, right? and then there's the guy.
I think I'm ready to pay for that.
Yeah. And then there's a guy that's just going to go down this deep path, almost compulsive, addiction, reward-seeking behavior and burnout, and then ignore true health. So you got to find this middle, and middle should be comfortable. Like, you should feel good by the time it's done. People around you should be happier. You should be happier with people, all that. So now you're doing this stuff where I guess it comes down to the word mindset. Like, where is your brain at? How do you get...
Well, you have the answer in everything you said just now. To get to all these things, like on both sides, what do you need? You need to understand yourself first. That's the first step. People don't even try to understand who they are, what is their purpose in life, what they want. So they go on a direction because the trend is in that direction, but they don't even think about why they're doing that journey to get to that point. Start to understand yourself. Where do you stand? What's your goal? How do you want to achieve that? What is the time and priorities you're going to put into these grinding? And then your mind will be just open enough to start and to get into that track. And this start by a simple thing: meditation.
Yeah, makes sense. You just validated something for me, because when we started our business, it was a research company. We weren't clinically facing. We were learning and building this database. And the clinicians that were doing the research, who were treating people that had issues, it would always start as, what problem are you trying to solve, right? What's wrong? Do you have a thyroid problem? Do you have Lyme disease, right? And then they would use the DNA to solve that problem. When I, for the first time, started actually talking to patients to learn and better my knowledge and all that, I realized the first place we have to start is, forget about your problem. You need to first understand how your brain works. Because I can't tell you how to get better if I don't understand how you're perceiving what I'm saying. You can't take the information and do anything with it if you don't understand how I'm purveying it. And all of that comes down to dopamine, serotonin, BDNF, and all these neurochemicals that are driving behaviors. And we now, as policy, start there every time. Understand your brain before we even talk about the problem. Otherwise, you can't fix it, right? And this is somewhat kind of the work you're doing. You're melding neuroscience with high performance, and you're taking people there, which is really cool, the work you're doing.
Thank you. But this is it comes down to exactly what you said. At the end of the day, it's one word: neuroplasticity. You have to change the pattern of your past life for your future life. So you have to create new pathways, and creating new pathways in your brain, neuroplasticity comes from neurogenesis, which is triggered by all the factors you said before. And at the base, it's that, as simple as that. And most people get stuck into their own, I'm judging by saying, miserable life, but in the life that they don't like, they complain about, but they're not willing to do the necessary or take the necessary step to move forward. So but that is the problem of our society today. Actually, it's a bit sad because we're a growing world, more and more people, more and more knowledgeable people, more and more knowledge, more and more science and science-backed theories and technologies, and more technology. But if we're not ready to use it, what we're going to do with that? We're going to have a bunch of people that are more miserable than they were before, and we're going to have an elite, small amount of people that are going to be like almost with superpower in any aspect, not just sport, but even managing companies. And then it's going to be, I don't think we should go into that direction. As we should be. The beauty of what you're doing actually is exactly this. You're educating people. I'm trying to educate people. I'm just trying to make them understand that life is not that complicated. And genetics, even if it seems to be complicated, is not.
No, you're right. And even that one concept you mentioned of neurogenesis, I remember going to school and being told, don't hit your head because you're going to kill brain cells. And that's all you got. You got what you're born with. But we now know that's not at all true. This concept of neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, you can continue to develop brain cells and continue to have a youthful brain. So what are some of the practices that you teach people that want to get there? Where do they start?
So if you want to trigger neuroplasticity and optimize it as much as possible, you have to change pattern, change habits, challenge your brain enough, but not too much, because if it's too complicated, you go the reverse. And be optimized, because you cannot trigger neuroplasticity if you don't sleep, for example. Forget it. You can use all the tricks you want if you push your body the whole day and then you avoid sleeping, or just rest days if you train. That's not going to work. Or if you read 50,000 books, but you don't retain any information from it, what's the purpose of it? So you have to be smart enough to use the right amount of time and focus. So we're coming back to one of my favorite topics, then flow state. You have to use the right amount to be in a zone where it's hard enough, but it's not too hard. It's pleasant, but it's not too challenging. Some people call it a flow state, but whatever you do, if you are able to trigger that flow state and be in that flow state when you do it, I'm talking about sport, but I'm talking about reading, I'm talking about learning. I don't have TV, I'm learning all day long. This is what I do. But I'm trying to be in flow, and to be in flow, one simple thing, I'm going to be doing a bit of meditation or non-sleep deep rest, or just breathing techniques to get my mind aligned. Then I switch to the other task. And it's the same for sport. You don't go with a trainer or to a gym with your phone, with people and talking and chatting about society or whatsoever. You go to the gym. I go to the gym by myself. I'm alone. I'm training alone. But some people need to have trainers. But they have to put the dedication in what they're doing. And it's not the rep that counts, but the sweat that counts. Is the dedication you put into each and every single movement that you're going to be trying to perform. And you're not going to follow a certain routine for 3 months. You have to challenge yourself. You have to challenge your body. You have to change the way that you do. Like I see so many people this morning. I made that post because I was just like irritated by those social media posts. Like, you need to buy workout plans. You need to do this on Monday. It's leg, Tuesday is arm, Wednesday is chest. What the heck? Go with the flow. Challenge yourself. Yeah, use your brain. This is the way you perform.
Yeah, and you'll find that people, as their identity shifts and they actually do train regularly, they're less likely to be like, here's my Monday, Tuesday. They know what their body's calling for, right? They know what they underdid, what they overdid, because they've developed that sense of being in tune. And you remind me that in the Islamic tradition, there's this saying of pray every prayer as if it's your last prayer. Like you're going to drop dead after that prayer. And that's the mindfulness that you should apply to everything you do. And that's what I'm hearing from you. Essentially, if I put it in a nutshell, is that quality of effort into everything that you're doing, because it creates that sense of reward. It creates that sense of meaningfulness that then allows you to want to do more of it and do a better job of it, as opposed to it being a burden or a problem. So this concept of quality, we don't really talk about. We talk about volume. We talk about technique and, the menu. Here's a list of stuff.
Yeah. Since the Industrial Revolution, our society became a society of consumers. So we have transposed that hyper-consumering into everything we do, even sport, even learning. We're trying to hyper-consume everything, where if you do it on purpose, mindfulness, everything you do counts, and counts as a growing factor for your brain, which after that, it's going to impact your body, it's going to impact your mind, it's going to impact your life. It's a simple concept, but people don't get it because our society judge, set parameters, compare. If you're proud enough of yourself, I don't think you need to compare to anyone. And you know what is good for you, you know what is bad for you, and then you could every time you take the decision to do something, you do it on purpose. I'm not saying that you have to be busy all day long and you have to be always on purpose. Okay, being like lazy and sometimes doing nothing is also a great trigger for creativity and for neuroplasticity, but not always. Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's that shift. Your brain's demanding variety in terms of its experiences. And so balance, give yourself a little bit of it and respond to how you're feeling, but also know that you have to create the structure to feel the right way too, to create that drive, that sense of reward, so you're talking about this stuff, about the beauty and simplicity, coming back to the basics, but we also know in the background, you're in your lab looking at the most complicated stuff in the future and what's coming, so we also want to hear about that. So I know there's all these things coming like AI and VR and things that are going to change the way we work on our body. So give us a sense of some of what you're hearing and seeing, and what's we're in store for.
Before getting into AI and VR, the step that I took in my research about brain optimization, they started when, I don't know if you remember that company, Halo Neuro. They were doing some sort of transcranial direct stimulation. I was curious about it, but the result of stimulating your brain by certain electrical inputs can improve neuroplasticity. Then if you step a bit further, infrared light can improve neuroplasticity as well. Light in a certain pattern, flashing and following certain pattern, can improve your brain plasticity or even your state of mind. So put all these together, optimize your brain, and now think about it. And look at those gamers. those gamers have been the center of research for many aspects of the future of brain optimization. Why is that? It's because they spend hours in front of their computer, absorbed in a flow state that lasts for hours as well, but they're hyper-stimulated by inputs, light, sounds, binaural sounds, because they use binaural sounds in certain games, and things like that. So when we put everything into perspective, and we see that those gamers, they have certain abilities and certain talent for triggering neuroplasticity, and they're even better in math most of the time. They calculate faster than other people. And I'm not a gamer at all. But I look at those and I look at the future. No, I don't. I don't even play a game. And I look at the future. I went to the MIT recently because I was kind of intrigued by virtual reality, the aspect of artificial intelligence, or how artificial intelligence is going to step into our life more than just through our phone and Siri and all these things, and help us to improve our ability to be better. So transpose this. If we are able to put our people into a virtual space where, so people are being lazy and not willing to put any efforts, but transpose them into an experience in virtual reality or extended reality in their environment with some virtual surroundings. Explain them what is the benefit of, I don't know, doing meditation. So virtual surroundings, atmosphere, sounds will put them in an understanding of what is meditation. Most people, they would like to do meditation, but don't even know how to start. They don't even know what is meditation. With that, we're going to help them to understand what it is, guide them to get to that point, and make them willing to take the step to move into those improvements. It's one example, but it could be the same for, want to teach you how to do an handstand, or maybe you already know an handstand. You're super in shape, so you should. And
handstand push-ups, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I know. I know it. 90 degrees. Yeah, I know it. And so I want to explain you how to do an handstand, but it's difficult for you to look at me doing it because it's not your body doing it. It's someone else, and you're going to be like, most people are going to be, but I'm not in shape like you are, or I don't have those arms, I don't have this strength. So you can transpose that person, that individual, into a sort of avatar that in virtual reality will execute the movement with the same body shape and things like that. And you're going to learn from that aspect how to do certain movement, how to perform differently, or to have a perfect technique faster than if I was to teach you or to guide you, like helping you to raise your legs or things like that. So I think that virtual reality has big openings. And for us at the magazine, I'm currently working at trying to come up in the market with not a magazine on paper, for example, but have a virtual magazine where you can, instead of reading a page, you're going to be immersed into the article. The article talks about hyperbaric chambers. You're going to be immersed in stimulation of hyperbaric chambers. So it's going to be more interesting and more opening for people to understand what is biohacking.
That makes so much sense. The application is, no, that's for sure. It's, you think of it as like some sci-fi stuff, but everything exists today. It just requires the creativity of someone like you to make it, create the utility of it. Like, what do we actually need? And that, when you describe the training, that's like truly personalized training. It's my avatar, me, the way my body needs it. None of this anxiety in the gym of, I don't look as good as the other people and I'm trying to figure things out, and my trainer looks like this and I don't feel like I can accomplish it. And that's truly what people need. It's like step one, get me going, right? And get me going the way I need, not, so that's awesome. Hey guys, we've been hearing from a lot of people that there seems to be a second wind of cold and flu season, and a lot of people are getting sick again. So we're going to do something about it. If you haven't heard of Breathe Easy, it's a product that we designed that specifically targets the immune system. It provides support to boost immunity no matter what the season brings. So there's things in there like NAC, zinc, vitamin C that act as potent antioxidants to support the immune function and reduce symptoms of respiratory illness if you take it. So we're going to get this out there so everybody can get back to what they're doing and get rid of their colds. So for this limited time during the season, we're going to bring it out there. Don't miss this deal. When you buy 2 bottles, 1 will be free. So go to the website and at checkout, you'll see that the second one is a gift from us. We want to make sure everyone and their families are armed. So go to thednacompany.com/products/breathe. That's breathe with an E, BREATHE -easy, and add 2 Breathe Easy bottles to your cart, and you'll see that the second one is free, a gift from us. So harness the power of your DNA, get optimal immunity, enjoy the season in good health.
And this is where artificial intelligence helps as well, because if you look at mathematical models, so artificial intelligence is our ability to calculate super fast, faster than like 10 people or 100 people or thousands of people at the time. So when you talk those avatars and you make a pattern of movement, the artificial intelligence with 1 or 2, 3 tests or attempt will be able to calculate what is the thing that you need to correct faster than the person being in front of you and helping you try to do it again because I didn't see correctly what you were doing. How were your fingers? What about your arm, or your head, or your neck, or whatsoever? Artificial intelligence will make the calculation right away. You're going to get the result. And step 2, improve.
Yeah. And I know they're trying to build this into equipment also, so the equipment itself coaches you. You know, there's I don't know the brand, but there's a mirror you can stand in front of that corrects your movements, and they're trying to put it into barbells and such, which makes a lot of sense. It's the creatives have to figure out where this stuff applies and make it work.
For that you need creativity, and creativity is only triggered by neuroplasticity, and neuroplasticity is triggered by well-being and optimization of yourself. So it's like a catch-21. Which one comes first, the egg or the chicken?
Yeah, for sure. So now I know when people get to hear from people like yourselves, they want to know, well, what does Jean do? You know, why does he look so good? What's going on in his life? So what does your daily routine look like? You wake up, you're getting sunlight, it sounds like, early. And then what happens?
Yeah. I wake up early in the morning. I try as much as possible to wake up in between 5 and 6. Sometimes can be 6:30, of course, depend on if I'm tired or not. But the first thing I do is I go for hydrogen water, and I hydrate myself with hydrogen water, and I put some sodium, potassium, just to rehydrate my brain. You know that our brain shrinks during the night because of the hydration. So you need to put that back on track. Now the sunrise is nice because it's coming earlier, like before 7 in Miami. It's getting there, so you can look at the sun, trigger all you need to have a better sleep at night and open up your receptors and everything, put your mood align. I don't take much supplements, but I do like taking once in a while a couple of supplements. But after that and before doing anything, I'm going to take a 15-20 minute meditation to center myself, put my brain aligned, and then put my day in perspective. What I'm going to do today? What is the plan? What do I have to achieve? What do I have to finish? Because aside of all these things, I sold my biotech company, and I'm working in a public company as a managing director in life science. So I have a job outside of that I have to perform. And then things like that, which is, so I put my day in perspective, and then I'm going to have some caffeine. I like espresso in the morning, so I do that, and I practice balance. This is all day long. Like my office is a standing desk, and I have one of those blocks where you can balance. So right. I'm doing that all day long. Like if I'm in front of the computer, I'm going to do it right away. I never work more than 90 minutes at a time because our brain is not capable of doing more. Yeah, that's like, if our modern society would understand this concept, our corporation will be probably 20 times more performing than what they are. And all these guys managing these companies and even the workers in manufacturing chains or whatsoever, if we were to understand this concept, simple concept, 90 minutes, this is the maximum time span that your brain is going to keep its focus. After that, you're just wasting your time. You're procrastinating. So if I work 90 minutes, sometimes it can be, of course, plus minus 20 minutes, okay? If I work those 90 minutes, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to take a walk, or I'm going to do some stretching or relaxing, or even just breathing to put my pace down, and I will wait until my second cycle of flow state will be able to be triggered in order to be optimal in my next step of working or learning or whatsoever. And I work out. In between, it depends on the days. The minimum would be 45 minutes. The maximum would be 1 hour and 30 minutes a day. And I don't have any workout plans. I go to the gym and never. Of course, I stretch. This is like 15-minute stretch, but then it's really depending on how I feel my shoulders, my legs, my abs, and I'll go with the flow.
Wow.
And that's why people call me cyborg. It's because I've learned so many patterns in a short amount of time, just because I was working out that way and not following whatever people were saying to do. And after that, I do cold showers, of course. This is so many things. Sorry, Kash.
And it's interesting that you don't utilize that many supplements, because one of the first things that a biohacker type person will do is start creating their pile and personal regimen of all the things they do. Yeah. And I think what's happening is, we all, these sort of new coming biohackers, are 10 years behind you, who you've been doing it all your life. And you've kind of learned what you need and you dip into it, as opposed to we're just getting started and trying to make, catch up a little bit. And I see this often with people that are more mature in their connection with their body and have been doing it for a while and understand things, and you're more into it, that I need a detox pill today. I need a mitochondrial boost today, right? As opposed to here's what I take every day, and I don't even know if it's working and how much I have expensive yellow pea, But so do you use anything like NMN, NAD, hormones, anything like that?
No hormones, but I do like maca, ashwagandha. Nitrification factors can help. Ozone water can be a good thing. But, as soon as you start using the same thing every day, it doesn't last. Your body gets used to it, and it's just like it's part of doing, like you said before, I have an expensive pea. So you better have you better have like a healthy diet without being into a diet, because I don't follow any diet. I follow what my body requires. I know that some days I would need more protein than others, or some fat than other days. I eat pasta. I drink wine. Doesn't matter. But I know that for sleep optimization, for example, some people will say, I never eat any sugar or whatsoever. I know that if I worked hard during the day and I'm going to go to bed, I'm going to take some herbal tea before going to bed, but I'm going to put a spoon of honey into it, because I don't want like 3 hours after to have my cortisol raising, waking up, going to the bathroom, coming back, having difficulties to sleep. So I know that sugar is going to be necessary for my body at night. And I don't have any trackers on me. I'm not using them anymore. It's just like, no need.
So the key word there is anymore, because you're past all that, right? So somebody like myself, I don't claim to be a pro. I'm doing what I can, but I'm still learning, and I'm tracking my sleep when I feel like I've gotten into bad habits. So I want to see what part's getting screwed up, and I know where to focus, and like you said, what to eat and what supplements to take. So I'm in this learning phase, which I think a lot of us are, right? And some of us a little more progressed than others, but this is where you need to be, is what we're trying to say, is that you know your body so well because you've been there, done that, and you got your PhD on your own human body, that you can constantly respond day by day, are you on vacation? How much sun did you get? How well did you sleep? Did you fight with your spouse the day before? All these factors change what you need to do that day and the next day, and that's where we got to get to, and we can. It's not that it sounds impossible. Here's your stash of supplements. Doesn't mean you're going into them every day. You're going into what you need, right?
Brings us back to what we said just when we started. Like, you have to know yourself first before trying to do anything else. And of course, trackers helps you to understand your variability, pulse, whatsoever. But after a while, I think that if you listen to your body carefully, you always get the signal. Recently, I was drinking like probably 2 glasses of wine per day, and I felt that in the last months, my performance are growing again. I've been steady for like a year, and they're like, I don't know, it's a rocket. So I'm getting to new movement and things like that. And I was taking wine at night with my dinner, and my body told me, stop it. It was like signal at night, like feeling not very good. I just reduced the wine to just a sip per night, and my performance still keep going up. But this is it. This is the knowing your mind is something. Knowing your body, just not the biology and the biochemistry of your body, but knowing your body, the overall concept of the body, is important. And calisthenics, the sport I do, helps a lot on that, because I discovered muscle that I didn't even know they were existing in my body by doing these movements. It's just like, oh, wow, okay. So then you know your body part by part, even like a tiny part of your finger, what it does and how to use it.
Yeah, I think there's this concept of, the healthier you are, and the more you are void of problems, the easier it is for you to notice when something goes wrong. Because if you're at prime peak health, and that glass of wine or that piece of bread or that lack of sleep, you're not used to not feeling good, right? And so that thing stands out as much. Because I know some people listening and thinking, well, I still need to be told what to do. Somebody's going to write me a plan. That if that's what it still feels like, it's because you haven't reached that sort of sensitivity level, let's call it, where things are so good, which is where you're at now, that extra sip means something to you. That extra turn of your finger means something to you, because you're so sensitive to what being good feels like, right? Yeah. So it's very much easier to experience a problem. It's like having a brand new polished Ferrari sitting there and a tiny scuff. Your brand new shoe. You just bought brand new shoes, and the kid steps on your toe. Like, what? Versus your old dirty boots that you don't care, right? You can't feel it anyway. It's covered in mud. Yeah. So when you can get to that pristine state, then it's very easy to notice the scuff or the problems, and you can do what Jean is talking about. You can manage day to day and respond to your environment, respond to food, respond to whatever happened effectively, and maintain that pristine state. It's a really cool place to be. I felt it on certain days. I'm not always there, right? But there's days where I feel it, like I didn't sleep. All of a sudden, my belly's sticking out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, right? I still have the same feelings. Yeah.
So you start to get there where you notice these little nuances, but when your belly was this big, it's hard to notice it sticking out from sleep, right? So anyway, it's really cool.
It's true. But you have to understand your body, and one of the best things to understand your body outside of meditation, it's called plunges.
Yeah.
Most people, they put their finger in cold water and just run out. I cannot. But this is one of the best things to learn about your mind, your every part of your body. Because if you put your feeling, like, let's pretend you're sitting in cold water and you extend your leg, you're going to feel the cold behind your legs, and you're going to feel that part of the body that for you is just part of your leg. It's not. It's a tiny part that it gets like it was warmed up because it was bent over or tight.
So that makes me think of, we talk about the body, the work that you're doing with calisthenics, and this is something where just all of a sudden, when I'm scrolling on TikTok, I see these guys that are super fit, and the first thing they say is, I don't go to the gym, I don't use weights, it's all body weight, right? Yeah. So how do you achieve that? 'Cause I've tried doing push-ups at home. It's never the same outcome for me as if I go lift heavy stuff, right? So now this is something that you've mastered. Yeah. What's actually going on there, and why do you prefer calisthenic type training over other stuff?
Okay, because first of all, when you push or lift weight, you lose one of the most important parameter of longevity. It's flexibility and mobility. You're losing that. Okay. Of course, yes, you're like pumped up faster, but if you cannot lift your weight on bars, like do pull up on a bar, what is the purpose of lifting weight? Just to look good? Then it's exactly what our society is trying to dictate.
Right.
Looking superficially perfect, having the right car, the right job, the right apartment with the right furniture, the right kids, and the right dog. I don't care about that. I care about performance. How do you feel when you do 50, 100 push-up and you can do it? How do you feel? And if you do them on L-sit, it's even better. This is what calisthenics brings. It's just like it's a constant improvement of every single movement that you try to do. And matter of fact, it's one of the sports that is the most addictive. We all know the runner high when people run the marathons and stuff like that. But in gymnastics, the University of Florida back in the 90-somethings was running a study on the receptors and how it can become totally addictive. And gymnastics was one of the was actually the sport that was triggering more addictivity, if we can say that, by performing it. And if you transpose it to calisthenics, many people and many athletes in calisthenics are just like too crazy and they're like just into that. But put it in perspective, I think that, you start calisthenics by doing pull-up, push-up. When you master them, when you start to mastering them, you do one-arm push-up or wide push-up. And you get the taste of controlling your body in those movements. And from there, handstand push-up like you do perfectly, and and then you can move to planche, you can move to front lever, and all these movements that look like so crazy. Every time I step in a gym, people think I'm coming from Mars or another planet. They're just like, what the? But it's not that complicated. And they come to me and I go like, you can do it.
Yeah, it makes sense. And just last week I was listening to someone talking about the blue zones, right? And the people that live to be centurions. You mentioned flexibility and mobility. So one of the habits of these people in the various cities in the world where they live is that they walk a lot. They're usually in cities where they have to move. But the nature of their walking isn't what we do on a treadmill. It's usually up and down hills, rocky, uneven pavement, right? It's usually old villages where the things are broken and they're going in shortcuts that they understand. So it's that flexibility and mobility at an old age where they're doing it into their 90s. And that triggers the whole thing that you talked about, neurogenesis, neuroplasticity. It triggers the brain to stay young. Right? You're signaling to your brain, I need to stay young and youthful and alive because I have a lot of challenges. Right. Yeah. And so this type of movement, this type of understanding that training your body isn't just training your muscles, it's also training your brain. Your brain is constantly responding to whatever you're doing. Right.
Yeah. And your brain will make the effort to make your muscles and your bones and your joints adaptable to whatever it's going to be required. I used to live in Canada for a while before moving to the United States. But what I loved in Canada when I had my place on the lake is in the morning, I was going for a walk in the wood where you don't know where you're walking. You have to watch every branches, everything. That is a crazy trigger for neuroplasticity. It's beautiful. And like, I never use GPS on my car. I'm trying to figure out the way because that triggers neuroplasticity. If I have to go to buy bread or wine, for example, I'm not taking always the same path. I'm going to go another way just because I don't want my brain to repeat always the same movement and get stuck into those patterns. That's
brilliant.
It's a way of life. Yeah,
it is a way of life, and just simple things that trigger really phenomenal things if you understand. But doing it consistently over and over again adds up to a bigger sum, right? And that's why there's guys like you around that are going to age and amazingly, and are going to teach us all. We thank you for that. So you had a book that you wrote about this. Am I correct?
Yes, 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago. Neuroscience Calisthenics was. It's a kind of an extension of all the basic techniques of biohacking transposed to sport, about what we talked about today. It's probably not my best book, but it was my first book. So it's a book. I'm writing my second book. Yeah, it's a book. My second book is more is on process. I'm writing it with a lot of passion. It's about I've tried to understand why in my life I've been taking risk on any aspect, business, personal life, or whatsoever, always going after risk. But there is many neuroscience principle behind that. And the fact that you take risk, so you get out of your comfort zone, it's actually a fantastic trigger for neuroplasticity and helps in any other aspect of your life, including performance, calisthenics and sport and everything. So it's all interlinked and related. So wait for the second. The first one I can send it for free.
All right, thank you. We'll be waiting. So this was amazing conversation. I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're a super busy guy. It's like literally almost a year of trying to connect with you, and you gave us the time today, which is an honor. And it's great that we. No, a pleasure. And so that's amazing. Thank you for joining us. And I think people should also know that you have your podcast that they can listen to. There's the Biohackers Magazine, which I use it. It's awesome. Anytime I go to a conference, I pick it up. And then No Plan B, which is your podcast people can listen to and learn more of this. And you have amazing guests you bring on. So thank you again. This was amazing. Thank you for joining us. Great pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. My greatest pleasure. It's been an honor.